Hi, good morning or good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Dar with XBM, and you are hopefully here for the Introduction to Portfolio Management with Atlassian webinar. If not, no problem. We can always do a different webinar later on. We have a lot coming up. So I work for XBM, which is an Atlassian Platinum Solution partner. And what that means is that Atlassian makes a lot of products that you guys probably use, and they rely on solution partners who help implement services. Like in general, Atlassian makes the products. In general, those solution partners implement those products for customers. It's not always like that, but in many cases it is. I'm a solutions architect here at XBM. I'm also a Safe Program Consultant, or SPC. I'm also an Atlassian certified expert. The last one just means I have a lot of different certifications in Atlassian. So hopefully you're in the right place to learn some good stuff. So today we are going to talk about two of the foremost portfolio management tools in the Atlassian ecosystem. One is Jira Align, the other one is Advanced Roadmaps. We're also going to talk about some other options as well for doing general portfolio management within the Atlassian ecosystem. And then we're going to do a Q&A at the end, just so we don't get off track. If you have any questions that you don't want to ask during this particular webinar, you can always email me later. I'll have an email and a LinkedIn QR code at the end. You can always reach out. We are always happy to answer any questions that you may have. In fact, we really enjoy answering questions. All right, so let's get started. So why do you need portfolio management? I'm probably preaching to the choir here, but in general, I think we all struggle with alignment of work to enterprise strategy. Many companies struggle with visualizing capacity versus demand at various layers of the hierarchy. People struggle with clear dependency management. Predictable and prioritized delivery of value, also very important. If we're not prioritized in our delivery, we're probably not being the most efficient that we can be. We also need stakeholder and team visibility. The ability to show a roadmap to help people understand where we are and where we're going is invaluable. All of this also, if we get it right, results in way fewer fire drills. Nobody likes that. And it also mitigates risk. So if this sounds like something you're looking for, you are definitely in the right place. All right, so the major tools to do this with are Jira Align and Advanced Roadmaps. These are Atlassian native tools that integrate very well with however you're tracking work today within the Atlassian ecosystem. Jira Align is currently a standalone product that connects to your Jira instance or instances, and Advanced Roadmaps is a product that is built into Data Center, or if you're on Cloud, Cloud Premium and Cloud Enterprise. There are other tools to do portfolio management in Jira. I'm going to focus on those two mostly in this webinar, but we also have experts that are more than happy to talk to you about these other portfolio management options. So let me just go through those really quick in case one of those is something that you're looking for. Structure and Big Picture do similar things, although in different ways, but they are also similar to Advanced Roadmaps. They both have a Gantt function. So if you are a particularly waterfall shop, but you're using Jira, those are sometimes a really good option. Also, if you're looking for individual level capacity and not team level capacity, Big Picture in particular does that well. In general, the Agile ecosystem answer to individual capacity is to actually just do things by teams. But again, sometimes you have very, very special constrained resources, in which case Big Picture is a good option for that. If you're also more of a traditional project management shop, WBS Gantt chart for Jira is a good one. And if you happen to be using Microsoft Project, there are also connectors where you can connect project at, let's say, the program layer or at the team of teams layer down to Jira, which is handling the team level work. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get your project with all the lead times mapped out, but then you also have teams updating their work in Jira, which eliminates the need for all the status meetings that Microsoft project managers dread so much. So anyway, we can talk about this all day long as well, but that's not the main focus of the webinar today. But if you have questions, please email me. or call the office, or find me on LinkedIn. We're happy to answer questions about all those. So let's talk about Jira Align first. This is Atlassian's flagship full enterprise portfolio management tool. It was an acquisition around 2019, I want to say. And it continues to grow in importance within the Atlassian ecosystem. And I'm going to talk about this as compared to advanced roadmaps in a little bit. And we're going to do live tools demos as well. So Jira Align is for a framework for scaled agile. It works with other frameworks, but it works best if you're a safe shop. It is for large scale enterprise companies, and it connects the CEO all the way down to the individual team members with its work hierarchy. It is also a full application. Yeah, this is another way to look at it. So Jira Align sits up here at the program, solution, portfolio, and enterprise layer, and then it connects across to Jira via a connector. They are always improving this connector. So if you used Jira Align in the past and you're like, man, I really don't like how that worked, it is getting better, and there are more improvements to come, including, I believe, the way that sprints are managed, which is going to be a big benefit to teams. If you're familiar with the term bucket sprints and how bad they are, that is hopefully going to be solved in the next couple of releases. So we have the team down here working in Jira. We connect the team's work really at the program/Jira Epic layer up to all of this stuff happening in Jira Align. Another way to think about Jira Align is a 3 hierarchy wonder tool, I guess I would put it. So Jira Align handles 3 different hierarchies. It handles people as a hierarchy, work as a hierarchy, and time as a hierarchy. And I love this concept. I think that a lot of people only ever think about the work hierarchy, but there are other hierarchies. How many times can I say that word in this webinar? That exist within companies. So the people hierarchy is here. We have people that form teams, and people that form programs, and people that work at the portfolio layer, and then executives that work at the enterprise layer. Work, that's the one that makes the most sense. We have subtasks in Jira that roll up into stories, that roll up into safe features/Jira epics. Those can roll up into capabilities or certainly initiatives or safe epics. And that's where we do our budgeting. Those can roll up into strategic themes, and those can roll up into the main focus of strategy. And again, we're going to show all this in the tool in a little bit. The third hierarchy is time. We have we have sprints or iterations that roll up into quarterly increments, or PIs if you're a safe shop, program increments, and those roll up into an overall strategy that we have that changes across the years. So we're always updating our long-term strategy by looking at it in increments of maybe a year or 2 years. I think in the past you used to be able to say 5 to 10 years, but in this world that is not the case anymore. And then you have all of these orthogonal business vectors coming into the work data. So we can attach budgets to our safe epics/initiatives. We can have domains. We can have value streams connected across the work. We can tie objectives to each individual layer of work, and then we can tie those objectives to key results that we're tracking over time. And we can also tag all of our features/Jira epics as products as well. So we can get that product-focused view of what we're delivering. Let me talk really quick about some key features of Jira Align. One, it does dependency management really well. I love the way Jira Align does dependencies. It reflects the way dependencies happen in reality, which are, it's a conversation. So my team needs something from your team. So my team's going to go to your team and say, hey, I need X. When can you deliver it? Your team is going to say, we can deliver it in sprint 7. Fantastic. My team is then going to say, yes, thank you very much. And we're going to wait for you to complete that work. So Jira Align captures that in the tool as a workflow of a dependency with all the required fields and all the required notifications to make sure that conversation is happening. Next, Jira Align has a program board that is outstanding. This is the board that we're used to in big room planning pre-2020, where we have all of the features up on the wall and we have the strings of yarn showing dependencies. Jira Align does that, but I argue better. They have opted to remove the strings because the strings are really just there to show complexity, and we can show that in different ways. And they actually get in the way of viewing what's really important, and that is, are all of your features ready to go? Are they properly planned? Are they assigned to sprints? Do they have stories broken down? Are they assigned to teams? Are the dependencies in the right order? And this board shows that really well. So it is a huge benefit to your program or team of teams layer. Jira Align supports road mapping, which is also very important for communicating to your stakeholders. There are different rooms at different layers. So there's a strategy room and a program room. And these rooms are sort of the command center where the leaders at each layer go to on a regular basis to make sure the ship is still going in the right direction. And lastly, the feature of OKRs I think is really fantastic. I think it's really important for mature organizations to be able to track these, and Jira Align does that quite well by allowing you to tie objectives and key results to all layers of the work hierarchy. New things that are coming and new things that have happened recently. They're doing custom field editing API support now. This is huge and wonderful. For those of you that tried Jira Align before and this wasn't an option, maybe come on back. This is really great. They have changed how you do estimation recently. Conversions now happen automatically in the background. The Fibonacci scale was deprecated, and WSJF is now called prioritization, which sort of leans into the real purpose of WSJF, is how do we prioritize what we're delivering. The UI is still on its way to getting a big overhaul to make it more Atlassianified. I love this. I cannot wait to see it. It's going to help a lot for people that are used to the rest of Atlassian suite. And the objectives tree is also getting an overhaul. I'm not sure if that was released yet, but if not, it is coming. All right, let's talk really quick about implementations. A Jira Align implementation takes about 3 months for one program. You may say, hey, wow, that's a long time. And I will say, no, it is not, because you are coordinating across so many different people and so many layers of leadership. We are solidifying the way we do work in the tool. If our processes are bad, we have to clean up our processes before putting them into the tool. We're changing the way that potentially 100 people do work. So we have to have those conversations. There are certain requirements in the way that the connector connects Jira to Jira Align that also have to be updated in Jira to support Jira Align. So there is really a lot of stuff happening. It's not just about flipping a couple switches and turning on the tool. But in general, what we do in those 3 months is we do planning, discovery, we do configuration, we train the teams, and then we support you through PI planning. This is usually done with a partner. After you launch one program, and this is also the way that SAFe launches programs too. So we're just kind of replicating those frameworks in the tool, including the process to launch those frameworks. Once you have one program, you pick up another program. You find the next light on the hill, preferably within the same value stream, to bring into Jira Align. After you have a couple programs in, you then probably are ready. And it feels like I'm reading If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, which is a classic American children's book. Once you have a couple of programs in place, you are certainly ready to go up a layer and start doing your portfolio planning across all of those programs. So we're ready to start implementing lean budgeting and guardrails, and really rolling out that top very important budgetary layer. That takes a little while too. There's certain protocols for that, but it all starts getting one program into the tool, which is really best practices for any change management. We want to get one team or team of teams in there, show everybody how well it's working, and then bring everybody else along with enthusiasm, not kicking and screaming. All right, so let's just hop into the tool really quick. I'm going to spend hopefully just about 10 minutes doing this, and then we're going to continue on with advanced roadmaps. So this is Jira Align. When you land for the first time, you're going to land on this main page here. Let me just show you some important pieces of navigation so you get a feel for the tool. Up top, we get to choose what pieces of data we're looking at. So Jira Align has multiple portfolios and multiple programs and hundreds of teams in it. So we need to know which piece of that overall enterprise pie we are looking at right now. So we can choose from portfolios and programs, and you're actually looking at two different sides of the same thing. This is a button-based approach. This is a hierarchy tree-based approach. But either way, we're going to wind up selecting something like, let's say, the mobile program. We're going to apply. And then over here, we get to choose, let me increase that window a little bit. Over here, we get to choose the time hierarchy. Are we going to look at a couple sprints? Are we going to look at a certain at a certain program increment? And so we get to choose which PI. And then we can do additional configurations as well. Maybe we're looking at certain releases. Maybe we're looking at certain products only. And then we can also save these as views for ourselves. This is something that's going to be getting an overhaul in the new UI, but hopefully it gives you an idea of how specific and important navigation is in the tool when you're looking at an entire enterprise worth of work. Down the left side, we have the layers of scale. So the first thing we see up here, I guess the third thing, but the first one that matters is the enterprise layer. And this is where we do everything relating to overall strategy. Then we hit the portfolio layer. This is the major initiative / safe epic layer. We have our portfolio Kanban, our portfolio backlog. We have a lot going on here. Then we have the optional solution layer. Most companies aren't going to use that layer, to be perfectly honest. So we're going to skip that and look at the program layer, or the team of teams layer. And this is where we have all of the program level tools that we would use, such as the program board, the program room, the program backlog, the program Kanban, all of that fun stuff. And also where we can track program level dependencies and risks. Then down here, we have the team layer. I'm not going to talk about that here because the team layer is really nowadays handled over in Jira. Jira Align started its life as a full stack tool. That's changing. So we're not going to look at the team layer today. Lastly, there's the product. I'm not going to call it a layer. I would call it more of an orthogonal slice. You can flag features / Jira epics with certain products, and those products roll into this product management section where we can look at the product management backlog and the product management Kanban from a product focused standpoint. All right, so let's just look at a couple highlights to give you an idea of this tool. So the first thing we can see is we can set up a strategy tree. So let me just grab a snapshot. Actually, you know what? No, that's not the view I want to look at. Sorry, I want to look at the strategy room. Here we go. So I've chosen a strategy for 2021, and we can see our company mission, vision, values, which sits at the top of our strategy pyramid. This then breaks down into long-term goals, yearly goals, and quarterly goals. And don't worry, we can actually rename all of this because your enterprise is going to be different than maybe this enterprise. And then down the left side here, we have those objectives that roll up into each other: program objectives, portfolio objectives, and strategic goals. On the right side, we have the work that rolls up into these quarterly and yearly goals. So we have features, epics, and then strategic themes. We have our OKRs at a global level rolling up. You can see that in this bit of sample data, we're not doing so great at meeting our objectives and key results, but hey, that's okay. And then we have our OKR tree, which is a breakdown of all of our OKRs rolling up. And then we have various metrics of how we're doing against execution. How many features have we released? How many stories? How many dependencies have we closed? All of that. So that's just a quick idea of the strategy layer. Now, if you want a deep dive of Jira Align, we have a webinar next Thursday, Introduction to Jira Align, where one of my colleagues is going to go very, very deeply into this tool. So I'm just trying to give you a surface level idea today. All right, at the portfolio layer, I'm just going to grab the portfolio backlog for a moment. And I'm going to grab one of our features. Well, I'm sorry, portfolio epics. So we see I've got a portfolio epic here / initiative, depending on the framework you're using. And that breaks down into Jira epics / features. And if I pull this out, I just want to show you all of the data you can collect against one of these items. So this initiative is going to be delivered by a program and possibly other programs. It's going to have prioritization per quarterly planning. It's going to have sizing per quarterly planning. We can attach design details to it, including design hypothesis. We can attach value engineering to this, and we can attach our budget. We can attach spending against this, so we can see, based on the total cost of the programs rolling up into this, we can see how much we're spending actually against this particular initiative. We can forecast it against multiple teams of delivery, so we can see broken down by team how many team weeks each program is going to commit. So the whole point of me showing you this is to say that this is a major planning tool, and it's going to help you get to where you need to go with all the details that you need to execute appropriately. All right, I'm going to hop down into my favorite layer though, because I want to show you my favorite feature of this. Oh wait, actually, you know what? While I'm still here, really quick, let me show you up at the portfolio layer, the portfolio room. So again, looking at this big budgetary, high-level planning that's so important, we can look at our financials, we can look at our resources, and we can track our execution for all of the major initiatives that our company is endeavoring. All right, now let me hop down to the program layer. So if I hop into the program board, this is probably the sexiest piece of this whole tool. Ooh, wow, get me out of here. Well, that's silly. Let's go to it a different way. This is the problem with live demos, by the way. Let's go to the program room, see if we can hop over to the program board from there. Yeah, so meanwhile, let me just show you, one program. Oh, come on, guys. There we go. All right. So here I've landed in the program room, and this is going to show me everything I need to do to plan a quarterly increment. It's going to show me all of the sprints and how well executed they are. It's going to show me all of the work that I have lining up on my runway to make sure I have enough work for the teams. And then it's going to show me all the features that I'm delivering on for this particular quarterly increment. Down the right side, I've got my progress, basically my execution. I've got a list of all of my dependencies, which is a lot. I've got my program impediments. I've got my program objectives. I've got my program risks, and we're roaming those along the left side. And then I have team load, team progress, all this information. Let's see if I can get to the, oh man, all right. Well, something is wrong with our demo site, and I will take a look, but let me just find you something really quick. I can talk about it from an image. It doesn't have to be in the tool. There we go. All right. So, image new tab. All right. This is what the program board looks like when you get there. And again, your instance will not fail like this one just did. So the program board breaks down all of my program's work by team. So I've got cheetah team, giraffe team, hunters team down here. I've got all of my sprints running horizontally here, and then all of these squares are the features that I'm delivering. Each of the colors means something else. So if there are dependencies that aren't sequenced, it'll flash in one color. If there's stories that aren't assigned to a team, it'll give me a different color. And basically, the redder the feature, I'm trying to think of a polite way to say that, the more problems we're going to have delivering on it. If a feature is ready to go, it's going to be in a neutral color. And if it's completed, it's going to be green. And if it's accepted, it's going to be green with a checkbox. We also see these little cross icons here. These are dependencies that are between multiple teams. So the idea is when you look at the board, when you start a program increment, you want to see them all a neutral color. They are ready to go. They're planned, work is properly broken down, dependencies are sequenced, we're good to go. And then as the quarterly increment goes on, we start to see all of this work turn green. If it turns red, we know we need to go address a problem. So people will be checking back in here frequently to find out what's going on. All right, let's get out of here. Let me show you one other great piece of the tool that I like, and that's that it's that dependency portion that I mentioned earlier. So here I've got program dependencies, and I can view these dependencies in a couple ways. Let me show you an actual dependency. Here I've got that workflow. Is it committed? I'm sorry. Is it waiting to be committed? Is it committed to? Is the work done? And then down here I've got when we need to deliver. Is the work blocked? I've got the sprint that we need it by. I've got the sprint that we've committed to delivering the work in. I've got the requesting team, the dependent team, and then all the notifications are handled through the tool too. So you basically file a dependency, the dependent team is notified, everything works out. Now, one of the reasons we like to view dependencies is because we want to know where do we need to restructure our teams if possible. And one of my favorite ways to see this is the wheel view, or the spaghetti plate of death, as I like to think of it. And this is going to show me all of the dependencies across all of my teams. And I can see that this is a little messy. So maybe I might want to talk to my management about restructuring my teams just a bit to make less and less dependencies within my program. All right, one other thing to show while we're here is roadmaps. So you can view roadmaps at different layers of scale within Jira Align. And here what I'm looking at is features by epic. So I've got, or I guess features by initiative is another way to say it. Nomenclature is hard when you're doing a webinar for everybody. So I've got parent initiatives here that then break down into child features. And I can see delivery. You can see the difference in the color in this bar. This one is 79% done. I can drop milestones on this roadmap, and then I can save this as a snapshot and then point it out to my leadership, to my stakeholders, and show them what they need to see about how we're delivering. And all this is work that's rolled up from the tool into this roadmap automatically. The last piece I want to show you is actually a piece within administration. I just want to show you the platform terminology configuration for a second. Every work item in this tool has an official name in the background, but then I can change the naming of that to fit my organization structure. So keeping in line with Atlassian tools being flexible, you can really make this work for how your enterprise is doing work. And words are important. The way we name things are important. So you can customize just about every word in the tool to fit your organization's needs. All right, that is a lot. Hopefully you have an idea of how Jira Align supports layers of scale and portfolio management with all of the built-in tools within it. One other thing that I want to point out really quick that I do really love. When you use Jira Align, let me just come to the backlog and show something. When all of your work is lined up, you can come into a work item and you can trace it all the way up with this button here, the Y button. This is particularly cool. So we can see this feature rolls up into this epic, rolls up into this theme, rolls up into this. Well, I guess that's not a roll up here, but we have the prioritization, we have the success measurements, and the business case. The whole point of this is that from the story layer all the way up, we can connect our delivery to our strategy, and everyone knows why they're working on something. I think that this is an idea from the military. It's something called command intent, but knowing why you're doing something is just as important as doing it. So this is a fantastic piece of the tool and really shows how things roll up completely. All right, let's stop talking about Jira Align for now, and let's roll over and talk about advanced roadmaps. I'm going to come back to my presentation for a second. All right, before we talk about advanced roadmaps really quick, I just want to talk a little bit about XPM. So XPM, like I mentioned before, is a platinum solution partner. That means we're the top layer of solution partners. We hold a number of special Atlassian accreditations as well, which means that basically Atlassian thinks that we can help you, and we think we can help you too. We specifically specialize in training, consulting, and custom development. So we do free webinars like this. We do special events, for example, related to getting into Jira Align, we do special marketing events around cloud migrations. We also do public paid classes, and we do private training as well. If there is a piece of the Atlassian ecosystem that you need to train an administrator or an end user on, we will absolutely do that for you. We do custom curricula, all of that fun stuff. We also do consulting. So if you need an implementation, a migration, a customization, if you're not sure how to get the most out of your tools, if you want to take your tools to the next level, we consult on that. Lastly, we have a full stack development shop. So if you need a solution, we're always going to suggest doing it in the tool first. If it's not in the tool, we'll help you find it in the marketplace. If it's not in the marketplace, we can absolutely build it for you. If there's an API, we can connect to it. We build custom skins on top of Jira. We've done that. You can check out our YouTube channel that actually shows a couple of videos on how we've done that for Volkswagen, for example. And we build custom apps, anything you want. All right, so that's what XBM does, and back to the show. So advanced roadmaps. We're looking at a whole different tool now. Advanced roadmaps started off originally as Portfolio for Jira. If you haven't looked at it since it was called Portfolio for Jira, definitely come back and take a new look. This is a really fantastic tool. I found Portfolio for Jira to be a bit opaque. I think it confused a lot of users. It certainly had its niche function, but Advanced Roadmaps is much more helpful now than Portfolio was for the majority of customers, in my opinion. So the positioning for Advanced Roadmaps, it is for growing organizations, agile or not, that need visibility, shared focus, and more accurate delivery. Piece of hair in my mouth, sorry. It is for planning across multiple teams. So basic Jira has a basic roadmap function, but when you need to scale across projects and across multiple teams, that's when you want to start using advanced roadmaps. Obviously, roadmaps keep stakeholders informed, very functional. Advanced roadmaps also allows you to extend your Jira hierarchy beyond stories and epics. It allows you to extend it up as many layers as you need. Most people will extend it up to initiatives and then strategic themes above epics. It allows you to align your work to those higher initiatives, and allows you to communicate the bigger picture to your teams and to your stakeholders. Key features: it provides product level roadmaps. It provides visualization. It provides team level capacity planning. And I'm saying that not just at the team layer, but it also provides what I would call program level capacity as well. It has auto scheduling, which is a really important feature when you're wondering what happens if I slip this into next quarter. How does that affect my delivery? And it also has what I would call advanced dependency management within Jira, mostly through the form of better dependency visualization. Some new and improved things. They have recently improved sprint management within advanced roadmaps. They've improved the capacity management visualization. The dependency map is now way better. There's an easier UI, and they keep updating the UI to provide for things like horizontal scrolling. And they recently added a PNG image export as well. There's actually lots of ways to export data from advanced roadmaps, but this is a very helpful one, especially for those of you who live and die by PowerPoint. All right, let's talk really quick about implementing advanced roadmaps. It is way, way easier to implement than Jira Align. For one, you're just doing it at a smaller layer of scale. For two, it's a much simpler product. And three, it's already integrated within Jira. All you have to do is either be on Data Center or just turn on the premium features of Jira Cloud and you're off. So typically we do it in a month. We used to go on site and roll it out within a week, but now with distributed working, we find that we do lots of small meetings and work in between. It takes about a month. So typically what we do is we work with our clients and we say, hey, what decisions are you trying to make? What do you need to see in order to make those decisions? We then work on your processes that support the information. And then we look at your Jira structure. And then we work backwards. We fix the Jira structure. We work on processes. We then build the views in advanced roadmaps. And we then confirm that you're able to make the decisions that you're trying to make. And then just like Jira Align, once you roll it out for 1 or 2 teams, it's very easy for people to see the benefit of the tool, and then we roll it out for more teams and more programs. Let's go ahead and hop right into the tool. And I gotta say, I really love this tool. I've been using it for years. I'm a big fan. So this is Advanced Roadmaps. It looks very confusing at first, but I think most tools do. So we're gonna break down what we're seeing. Let me start here and say that there are many different ways to view the same data. And actually, an advanced roadmap plan, which is what we're seeing, is just one more visualization in Jira. Just like a Kanban board or a Scrum board visualizes the work that's living in a Jira project, advanced roadmap plans visualize the work in a different way. And within this plan, I am bringing in work from 3 different teams. I'm bringing in epics, and I'm bringing in initiatives. And you can see that all of that is broken up down here. I've got my initiatives, which then break down into epics, and my epics have stories rolling up into them. So I'm looking at the whole gamut of the hierarchy right here. And I've got different views to show me different aspects of the same data. Here I'm looking at epics broken down into stories. And in this view, I'm looking at all of the work at a team layer and the capacity for it. This is all the same data broken up into different views, saved in one plan, but it's all just visualizations of the same data. So let me start up here at my initiative planning view and just demonstrate some of the features. So like I said, I've got initiatives broken down into epics. I've got target start and target end dates over here. I've got the status of my initiative, because the initiative is just an object in Jira. It's just another issue. I've got a weighted shortest job first, if I'm using that. I've got a swag field that I can use to swag my initiatives. I've got a product field. I've got an MVP field. And then I have initiative progress. And if I look here at an epic, I've got my, this is a good example. I've got my epic progress, which is the stories rolled up into the epic. So this one is 58% done, 21% in progress, 21% left in to do. I can bring in whatever fields I want into this scope area over here. And I can then collapse that, and I can view all of this work over here on my timeline as a roadmap. There's some simple drag and drop functions here as well, where I can update the dates, or I can drag them out. And what we're seeing here is I've got everything colored by status. So anything that's in progress is blue, anything that's to do is in gray, and everything that's done is in green. But I can actually color these in a different way. If I come into my view settings, I can color, for example, by label instead. And now I could make a label called green, a label called red, and a label called yellow. And now I have my red, amber, green for my presentation. I can save a snapshot of this, throw it in a PowerPoint, and now I'm just and what I love about that is that up until I take the snapshot, this is all live data coming out of Jira. This is green because I put a label on my initiative. I can go change that initiative in Jira to yellow if I want to, but this is all live data connected back to the teams. While we're talking about view settings, I can do a couple of other things too. I'm going to go back to status coloring though. I can show dependencies in different ways. I can choose to roll up dates, and I can choose to roll up other information. I can group all of my work here by different aspects. I can sort by different aspects. And then I can actually save all of this as a certain view, which encapsulates the fields that I've chosen, and the coloring and the view settings, and even the filtering that I can do. I can filter this down to certain teams, certain projects, certain issue types, and I can save all of that in a particular view and come back to that and share that view with all of my stakeholders. Looking at the roadmap here, I see this barber pole striping effect. This is because I don't have fixed dates on this epic. Instead, I'm using the dates of its children to tell me when it started and when it's going to finish. We can even do things like a half fixed date. So let's say in this epic, I know that I'm going to start on the 16th of September, but I don't know when I'm going to end. So here I have a solid start date and then an end date that is determined by its children. So this is quite helpful in planning, I think. We can throw fixed dates way in the future for what we think is going to happen. And as we get closer to the execution, we can remove those fixed dates and use roll-ups to see when we're actually going to deliver on this based on the teamwork living below. Excuse me. So this is one view that I've saved. Let's look at another view. Let's look at, if we're doing program level planning, we can come down to the epic layer. Same data, different view. This time I'm looking at epics down to stories. I've got my parent initiative. I've got the same number of fields here. Well, not the same number, but similar fields. I've got my story points that are rolling up from my stories. I've got a list of incoming and outgoing dependencies. I've got the releases, and I've got the teams that are working on these epics. Now let's look at some dependencies. This is one example of better dependency visualization. I see that there's a problem here. I should probably put this story into a different sprint. So I could move it here in the future, and now my dependency line turns gray, meaning that that dependency is solved. I'm going to go and move it back here, though. The next view that I want to show you that I really like is this team level capacity planning view. So now I've got all of my work grouped by team. I've got my alpha team, beta team, and Charlie team. And so if I expand, we can see all of alpha's work. And across my timeline, I've got the sprints that my team is working in. If we're in Kanban, it'll be by weeks, but if we're pulling in Scrum teams, we'll see it by sprint. And these sprints have a certain capacity, and I can actually change that capacity on a sprint by sprint basis. So now this sprint actually has 35 story points. And we can see all of the work in here. We can also see a warning that there is one unestimated issue in here, letting us know that this is probably not going to be super accurate. We can also see the epics being delivered in this sprint. We can see a breakdown of the type of work, and we can see information about the capacity of the work in this sprint. I just love all this information. I find this incredibly helpful. Now here, actually, let me go back so I can actually properly demonstrate. This was at 30 story points here. So I've got a problem in this sprint. There is too much work in it. So let me move alpha 8. Let me move this into the next sprint, and we'll see that this red goes green, and that this bar goes up a little bit. I'll move it into sprint 2, and now we have perfect capacity for sprint 1, and we have a little bit more full in sprint 2. And we can also see all of our team level dependencies down here too. Let me show you a better example of that dependency. I'm going to come to the dependency map here, or I guess it's called dependency report now. And here I have a view, let's go to fit, of all of my dependencies showing up in this plan. And I can break it up by team, which I really like. Let me go back to fit for a second. So now I have alpha team's work here and Charlie team's work. And I can see that there's a pretty intricate dependency going on here that I need to monitor closely. Alpha is going to enable Charlie to do something, but then Charlie is enabling lots of Alpha's future work. So I need to make sure, I need to especially watch Alpha 12 and Charlie 38 to make sure that this work is going to get done on time. Yeah, so this is one fantastic way to view things. Coming back to, let's say, my initiative planning, as we fill in information, as we start to add dates to items, you'll see that I'm getting all of these green flags on all the changes I'm making. Those green flags are getting saved up here in the Review Changes button. So one of the key features of advanced roadmaps is I can do planning in a sandbox that does not push back to the teams until I choose to. So I'm going to click on Review Changes, and I can choose what I want to push back to Jira. I'm gonna push these 3 changes back. I can click Save Selected Changes, and now it's real for the teams. Until I do, every time I refresh my plan, I'm going to be pulling in live Jira data, except for the data that I've altered in my plan. So this is always live, always forward-looking. Now these are green flags, But I can also set up scenarios because whenever we're planning, of course, we're going to have multiple scenarios. So I've made 2 scenarios in this plan, best case and worst case. And if I come to my worst case scenario and I start making changes to dates here, you can see that I'm getting red flags instead based on the scenario color. And then I can choose which scenarios changes I want to push back to Jira once we've chosen on a path forward. So hopefully so far you've seen how advanced roadmaps living natively within Jira, because you can see up here, I'm in Jira. I'm just in the advanced roadmaps plan section. You can see how this has created new layers of scale, visualize that on a roadmap, and provide me with the tools to properly plan these things out. Now there's just another couple of features I want to show you before we get to Q&A. If I come back to the team level capacity plan that I have here, there's this feature called auto schedule. And auto schedule takes into account rank and estimates and team assignments and releases, sprint capacity, all of this information. It rolls all that information into an algorithm and then displays changes that Jira thinks we should make to our plan based on that algorithm. So here, everything in purple is going to be changed. It is suggesting new sprints and rearrangements. It's also looking at dependencies, and I can choose to accept these changes into my plan and then push those changes back out into Jira. So if you're needing something to do automatic scheduling, there is that feature as well. That's a very powerful feature, I think, and particularly useful at the team level. Another thing that I really like is I've got this warning section that is telling me problems with my plan. This is going to highlight, let me change views to find an example. This is going to highlight certain problems in my plan. For example, here I've got a warning. This is telling me that this layer is okay, but its children have a problem. And so here we can see I've got an end date on this, and we're already past that end date. So I should probably look at this item and see what's wrong with it, or if I need to make an adjustment. The second warning it's throwing is that it actually starts before its parent, which is also probably an issue. So it's gonna flag yellow, kind of like the program board over in Jira Align, all the problems with my plan. And I can also choose to hide these when I share this view. Speaking of sharing the view, I've got a couple options to share it. Actually, I have many over here now. I'm really excited about these changes. One is I can do a read-only link. Copy this link, open in a new tab. And now I've got a read-only version of this plan. But the person viewing it, they can still manipulate the view. They just can't change the data. So if they want to change what they're filtered on, or if they want to change their view settings, they can do all of that to see, or even how they're sorting. Of course, when they come back to this link, it's going to reset. But this thing that I'm sharing, this is all based on this particular saved view. So I can save views for multiple stakeholders and then make those available. There's other ways to make it available too. I can embed it via an iframe. I can drop it into a Confluence page, which I think is just the best way to do it. We can also export all the data in here as a CSV. And then the newer feature I talked about, we can save the whole thing as a PNG image and then drop that into a slide deck if we want to. It's taken a while to generate, sorry about that, but it will generate. There we go, yeah. So we could drop this, and again, you'd obviously want to clean up the fields and get just the right view. But this way, you're always taking a snapshot of something live and real, and you can save a special view here for that particular PowerPoint that you're updating every month. So hopefully you can see this is saving everybody a lot of time too. Everything's aligned. This is all live data in Jira. We're planning in a sandbox. Hopefully you can feel the excitement that I do about using this tool to plan. Okay, I think that's it for the demo. Let's come back to the slide deck and talk about things coming up. Before we close, we're going to do Q&A in a little bit. But first, I want to point out that we do a lot of free webinars like this. If you want, you can just go to xpm.com and look at all of our events. xpm.com. Oops, not about us. Let's go to xpm. And you can come here to the events tab and you can see all of our upcoming events. There's a big list of them here, or you can come and check out all of our services. But we do a lot of these free events, including one major one coming up, which is a cloud migration workshop. But there's a lot of other free ones that we do. This is Introduction to Portfolio Management today. We have an Advanced Roadmaps Quick Start class coming up. We have a Jira Service Management Bootcamp. We have another free webinar next week, Intro to Jira Align. After that, a free webinar, Intro to Confluence. After that, a free webinar about using Jira to manage work for non-software teams. We have a paid Jira Bootcamp, a paid Confluence Bootcamp, another paid Advanced Roadmaps Quick Start. And then we have some free webinars around Jira Service Management and specifically Jira Service Management for ITSM. Oh, and also about successfully migrating to cloud. So we're still going to do Q&A in a moment, but I do want to do a soft close here and say thank you very much for attending. Thank you for your kind attention. I hope that this was helpful. I hope this gave you ideas of how you can better plan and better align your work within the Atlassian ecosystem to your higher level initiatives. And hopefully you see a lot of options for that depending on your size and scale. If you have any questions that you don't want to ask right now, you're more than welcome to send me an email, brian.dar@axiom.com, or you can find me on LinkedIn through this QR code. But I really do appreciate you attending, and I really hope this was of value. So thank you for coming. And with that being said, I'd like to open it up for Q&A. Hopefully everything was explained really well if nobody has any questions. I'm going to wait just a little bit longer because some people I know are probably typing. But yeah. All right, looks like no questions, and that is okay. Again, feel free to email, feel free to find us on LinkedIn. Hopefully we'll see you in some more webinars and maybe at a conference someday. Thank you so much for attending and have a great rest of your week.